Hi, and welcome to yet again another Destiny Success Incorporated recording. This is your host, Reverend Walter Mwambazi. I've been enjoying your company all this time, and this time you do know that we're video number 3, types of businesses, which, as you know, is a detailed breakdown of the various business models in Zimbabwe. And we are taking this from the website www.millionairesinmotion.net, and I believe that by this video number 3 you have more than enough information to help you know exactly how to start a business and how to run one in your lovely country. Now today we're doing a recap of what we learned from video number 2, so in case you haven't recorded that or watched that, then you need to get hold of it. We looked at why business, why should you be in business. We also looked at what type of businesses you could get into. We learned how to register and start a business, a comprehensive training of that. And then we also looked at the regulators or the regulatory bodies that are available in Zimbabwe to oversee the various business activities. Now today we're going to be starting on the business plan and exactly how you can start a business plan. Why should you have a business plan? Here it is. It helps you articulate your business and your vision. It also will help you place yourself in the marketplace strategically. At the same time, if you need some startup capital, banks and financiers will certainly need to have a look at one of those business plans. So it must be a thoroughly written document. Now let's look at all the outlines of what makes a good business plan. First, it must have an executive summary, which appears first, is written last, and summarizes the key elements of the entire business plan. The industry is another fact that must be written, an overview of the sector in which your business will operate in, and that includes trends, major players, estimated sales total, and a summary of businesses placed within this sector. Then we also have what is called a market analysis. Now that is an examination of the primary target market for your product or service, which includes geographic location, demographics, your target market's needs, and how these needs are being met currently. Again, we also need a competitive analysis within this document, which is an investigation of your direct and indirect competitors and an assessment of the competitive advantage and an analysis of how you will overcome any entry barriers into your chosen market. We also have to have a marketing plan, definitely without fail. This is a detailed explanation of your sales strategy, your pricing plan, your proposed advertising and promotion activities, as well as your product or service benefits, what makes you stand out over the other people. You also have to have a management plan, and that's an outline of your business's legal structure and management resources. This will include your internal management team, external management resources, and human resources needs whenever they come up. Again, the plan must also have an operating plan, which describes your business's physical location, facilities and equipment, kinds of employees needed, inventory requirements and supplies, as well as any other applicable operating details, such as a description of the manufacturing process if you are manufacturing. And then there's got to be a financial plan without fail, which is a description of your funding requirements, a detailed financial statements, which are from your bank, of course, and financial statement analysis, which basically breaks down and helps one to understand what kind of money you have and where it's going to come from. Apart from that, then there's an appendix at the end of the whole thing, as well as exhibits, which are any additional information that will help establish the credibility of your business idea. This can include, but is not limited to, marketing studies, photographs of your product, and or contracts and other legal agreements pertinent to your business. Now let's look at the types of businesses that we're going to be studying today. We'll study 3 types. We'll look at a startup business, we'll look at buying an existing business, and we'll look at franchising. These are the 3 types of businesses we'll examine in this particular report in super detail and just give you an idea of what it would cost you to set one of these babies up. So let's look at the startup that you need, the cost analysis of what it costs really to set these babies up. Let's start with the trading business, specifically buying and selling or retail, as is known by many people. That can be a market setup, that can be a shop, whatever. Let's look at some average but solidly set up company and see what it costs. Now, if you're we're also going to be looking at manufacturing, and we'll look specifically at a peanut butter factory, a small one, and how much it will cost. And then we'll also look at a service provision, specifically a consultancy firm, which is a small one. So these are the 3 costs that we'll analyze in great detail just now. So let's look at those cost analysis, and starting off with the trading, supplier setup, or buying and selling retail business. Let's look at that. The startup cost, as we know already from the registration and compliance issues which we studied in the previous video, it's about $700 in total. The stock will be about $2,000 for any basic business to get you off the ground. Overheads will be the shop itself, which is optional, is about $400 for starting, and that's a really basic shop there. So obviously if you want to get a shop in a more upmarket area, you're looking at about a grand. And then at the same time, we've got inventory, which is your furniture and all this other stuff that you have in your shop. That's about $1,000. Then operations will be about $700 to get you off the ground, and marketing and advertising to get people to know about your business and what you're doing, another $200, which gives us a grand total of, give and take, roughly about $5,100 to get you off the ground as a trading supplier business in retail of selling and buying. Now, I must mention very quickly that obviously the bigger the setup, obviously the more setup it is, it's going to cost you even more than this. So this is just a rough idea. Now let's look at manufacturing, specifically the peanut butter factory example we talked about. And here, startup costs are going to be a little higher. Registration compliance is obviously going to be way more because there's a lot of other factors to do with health and standards that you have to look into, and you have to comply with all the other regulatory authorities in relation to that particular manufacturing site, including the environmental council's report and environmental assessment impact study and things like that. So these are things that are going to make the registration and compliance a little more expensive. Then there's the raw material itself, about $6,000, and then there's overheads, which will include machinery itself, about $20,000, because obviously the bigger the setup you want to have, the more machinery you'll need, and that will mean it will cost you more. And then you've got the inventory itself, the actual stuff in your office, the chairs and the computers and equipment and whatever else you need there. Then there's the operations themselves to run back and forth and to do everything in order. Then we've got the marketing and distribution, which will be another $2,000. So we're looking roughly at about, give and take, a couple off and on, about $39,000 to start with, but this could be much, much higher than that. Then we have the service provision, which is a consultancy firm, a small one. That means you're just talking to a few people a day. The startup cost, registration and compliance is about $700, as we already know from the previous video. And then we've got overheads, which include the office itself, $800 to rent a good office. Remember that consultancy has a lot to do with reputation, so obviously the better located your office, the greater the chance for getting greater business. Then with inventory itself, the furniture in the office, I would not suggest going to get your grandmother's old furniture. That will certainly not do well. Instead, what you need to do is get yourself over to Office Furniture or one of these furniture companies and get yourself something decent looking. Remember that a consultant needs a lot of image, so that makes a big difference. Operations about $400. And marketing about $200, and then the previous track record is priceless because the reputation of this individual plays a massive role in determining the kind of business they'll get. So this is not quantifiable. So we're looking at total, give and take, roughly give and take off the cuff, about $4,100 in total to get you off the ground with that kind of business. Now let's look at the other option of buying an existing business. There's added benefits to that. Number one is an established business. You overcome the startup challenges we just looked at. It's already generating profits, hence the reason why you want to even buy it in the first place. And it has an existing clientele. So buying an existing business is a big one. And then I'll give you a very good example. In Zambia, before MTN came into the market, they basically just bought off an existing network called Telecel. And that meant that it was easier for them to run with that and the infrastructure there than to go set everything up from square one. This is a very, very popular method of doing business in many, many circles, depending on the kind of financing you have. So we're looking at anything from $10,000 up to $200,000, and even way more than that. We all know, for example, that Facebook just bought Instagram for about $9 million. So, it's always happening all the time. These things take place all the time. Is it $9 million? No, it's $1 billion according to the facts. So there you have it. So businesses are always being bought all the time. Sometimes you can build a business up to a certain level and then have it bought off, or you could go buy one off if you've got enough money. So these are some of the other measures, and we're going to look at buying a franchise, specifically KFC. And let's look at that. Okay, so start cost for a franchise like this one. The buying price is about $300,000 US. That's some pretty heavy molar right there. And then training to get all the necessary information to get you going to learn their system is $20,000. Stock is going to cost you $4,000. Marketing and advertising about $4,000. And operations will cost you another $2,000. And that's about probably every month. So other overheads again about $2,000, and we're looking at a grand total of about $312,000. That's quite a bit of money, and this tends to be easier for those who, run into a big bunch of money, like those who are retiring or have influence with the bank and can borrow quite a bit. But besides that, for most ordinary individuals, this is pretty much off your league. The 10 greatest challenges facing you is an overview. This is what we're going to look at now. According to Harvard, all else being equal, a venture capital-backed entrepreneur who succeeds in a venture and by our definition starts a company that goes public has a 30% chance of succeeding in his next venture. And by contrast, first-time entrepreneurs have only an 18% chance of succeeding, and entrepreneurs who previously failed have a 20% chance of succeeding. This is according to Harvard business study. Now, the chief registrar of companies in Zimbabwe also says that 9 out of every 10 new businesses fail and close shop within 5 years of commencement. Worse still, of the one that succeeds, another 9 will fail in the next 5 years. That leaves only 1 out of 100 businesses flourishing after 10 years. Can you imagine that? And furthermore, the 3 greatest factors that lead to failure in business are: number 1, a lack of a burning desire; number 2, lack of knowledge; and number 3, lack of cash flow. And these are all internal challenges. What do we mean by that? A burning desire is the very thing that makes you run. Information is the stuff that I'm giving you right now. And of course, cash flow is the money that comes in. Now we continue. Furthermore, the latter 2, these being lack of knowledge and lack of cash flow, are exacerbated by the 10 greatest internal challenges to follow. So lack of knowledge and lack of cash flow. These are major issues. Now let's look at the 10 factors. Number 1, now these are the things that basically stand in your way and get you to fail to succeed. In fact, for many people, these things actually become their very nemesis. Number 1 is paperwork. You hate doing it, you hate organizing it, you'd love to throw it out, but you can't decide what you can get rid of or what you keep. Number 2 is delegation. You can't trust anyone to do it as well as you. You haven't practiced your delegation skills. It's no surprise when it doesn't go well, because it justifies your reluctance, and that's the reason why you never delegate. You try to do everything yourself. Third factor, perfectionism. Your standards are so high, no one can live up to them, not even yourself. But I can tell you this: perfectionism is motivated by fear and mass laziness. You can't be judged if you never finish. Number 4, forgetfulness. Poor working memory makes you forget what you're supposed to do. You can't remember facts, but appointments, commitments, forget it. You have no diary to speak of. Number 5, impulsive behavior. A person of action, you'd rather move than take time to think. But shooting first and asking questions later just leaves a lot of holes you have to fix. Number 6, projects or project management. The challenges that face any new project, such as planning, managing, and finishing them on time, start early. The writing of a business plan alone stops many would-be entrepreneurs before they even get started. Number 7, procrastination. With so many exciting things to do, boring but necessary tasks are the bane of every entrepreneur. Why do today what you can put off until tomorrow? Number 8 is a secret strategy that can stop procrastination in its tracks. And what's number 8? Well, let's see. Getting organized. You are often inconsistent. You're organized in some areas and disorganized in others. You can't seem to transfer the same skills from one area to another. And number 9, this guy looks so sad. Lack of focus. You have so many brilliant ideas, each one shinier than the next, that your biggest challenge is to pick one and see through from brainstorm to business. And number 10, time management. I think this is the one that a lot of people fall victim of, probably most of you watching this as well. You are chronically late, overcommitted, and still over-promising. You underestimate how long things will take and often scramble to catch up late into the night. So your best solution, here's what you can do to get over all these challenges, because we did study quite a bit and we've looked at all the challenges, the how to write a business plan and the 10 greatest challenges facing a new entrepreneur. So what is the best solution? Let's take them out. So here's the first, a business system. Don't just start a business, but find a proven business system that eliminates all those pesky variables. Then number 2, connect to a mentor. Now, a mentor has the results you aspire to have. A mentor is willing to show you the ropes and could be a professional who advises entrepreneurs for a living, or someone working in a related industry who is willing to help you. Furthermore, with a mentor, they are normally detached from you and your business, and they will deliver bad or critical news and advice straight up, and will fill up experience gaps as well as impart wisdom on how to handle specific business challenges in the shortest time possible. In short, you learn things the fast way without having to do it the hard way. So coming up next in our next video, we're going to be learning the ideal business model. We're going to show you what we're calling the ultimate business. At the same time, we're going to look at the ideal business system that will help you run as well very, very effectively. Then the ideal mentorship program, which is what we're calling the Millionaires Alliance. And then also the ideal reward system, which is going to be something awesome that you won't even believe yourself. So now here's the revolution. Are you willing to be proactive? Are you willing to do what's necessary to bring about change? Do you have the opportunity to do so? Well, look out for our video number 4, The Ultimate Business, Monday 9th of September, 7 a.m. your time. It will be uploaded and you will be able to take advantage of it. And remember that all these videos are part of a series we're doing in readiness for the Millionaires in Making, the 90-day challenge, which is taking place right there in Zimbabwe as an initiative of the Millionaires Alliance, taking place in Bulawayo in Harare. Bulawayo 4 days from 11th September, Wednesday through Saturday, 14th of September in Harare, Monday 16th and 17th Tuesday, in which we're going to be looking at all these things. So do not miss that. Remember, this is going to be awesome. Follow the details you have on the computer, send an email, get in touch, and we will be able to give you far more information. So from me, your host, Reverend Walter Mwambazi, looking forward to touching base with you again at the next video. This has been a great Destiny Success Incorporated presentation. See you next time.